class.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, first I want to appreciate you guys for making out time to come. I know it's not easy. Some of you are coming out from work and all that. And again, it's Friday. So you just want to go home and start enjoying your weekend. But you are very much welcome. Try as much as possible to break down this topic, the modules, for better understanding. Like I said earlier, I would like to get feedback from us, what we learned on Wednesday. If you have any feedback, if you've been able to, do some kind of application of what you've learned, because it is important to always apply what you have learned. Don't wait until you find yourself in this area, or don't wait when it becomes an emergency. Just begin to apply what you've learned. So I want to get feedback from us. Anybody can go. Feedback from last class, we did a strategic maintenance. So a quick feedback. Anyone want to try? Facilities maintenance strategy.
Evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Kendi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, I learned from the last class that if one deployed the right maintenance strategy, one is able to get the value of the useful life, and also you'll be able to prepare for it. Will reduce unplanned repairs.
That's
equipment.
right. Yeah, that's right. That's good. Awesome. Awesome. Temitope Obafemi, let's hear you.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
In fact, the last class, it was like I was just in a counseling session. I was actually in a crisis that very, very day. And in fact, that from Monday, I've been having all manner of issues concerning the facility I'm actually managing. It is a residential apartment. And then so while the class started, and then you were reading out, all the modes of all the strategies in facility maintenance. In fact, I got relieved by everyone, especially when you started mentioning the categories of equipment under which strategies, especially plan to fail maintenance strategy. And then these equipment that I'm having issues with are actually, they are the water system purifiers, generators, and what have you. So it was like as if maybe I actually don't know what I'm doing. And then I was like in a crisis. But at the end of the class, I mean, I was really, I got, the information that yes, I'm actually doing what is right. It's only that for me just to up my game and then increase my awareness as to when to take action, and then rather than for this to lay back and then before I take action. So it was a great relief for me at the end of the class. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Awesome. That's really good. One thing about this course is that at the end of the day, the things that you are doing, you see, you already are doing it, but you may not really have a clear clear-cut understanding of it. But this course will help you, and give you options to make decisions, So thank you very much for that. Can we have just one more feedback from anybody in the class? Facility management strategy. We learned about the run to failure strategy, and we say that strategy is very important and is very good, even though it looks like, why should I be spending money on run to failure? It's already like emergency, but it is on its own a strategy. It's only for you to know the assets you can, categorize under that strategy. We also learned about the preventive maintenance strategy, which is the planned preventive maintenance. We also saw that it's a good strategy, but you cannot use that strategy for everything in your facilities. And we also saw that most of the things in our facilities are not under planned preventive maintenance. Because sometimes as facilities manager, once we think of maintenance, our mind is going to, let me put a planned preventive maintenance around that asset. No, you must know which assets. And we know that it's only like 5% of the entire asset in our portfolio that can be put under the planned preventive maintenance. So you need to be careful when you are doing that. Also, we look at the predictive maintenance. This one is the best kind of maintenance, whereby you are just able to predict, this asset is going to go bad in the next 3 days. Let me quickly carry a servicing or maintenance activity on it. But that one comes with its own cost, because you need monitoring system, you need long years of experience. If you meet a very experienced technician, electrical technician or generator technician, he can tell you, the sound that is coming out from this generator is an indication that something is going to go bad really soon. And that alone is enough for you to, take action. So for the predictive maintenance, you have all these devices, you have equipment that are monitoring things, and at the end, you're able to tell you from the data you generate, you can take a decision. Then we also look at the reliability-centered maintenance. And we said that it is not a strategy, but it is a framework that, take into cognizance all other maintenance strategy, and by doing that, you are mix-matching the different strategy to ensure that you have, number one, reliability of your asset, and number two, the best cost. And when I say the best cost, I'm talking about the lowest cost for the organization. So you look at your asset, you tell yourself, if I mix preventive maintenance and run to failure maintenance for this asset, it will save me money. Or if I bring in predictive maintenance, and we learned that the reliability-centered maintenance is mainly, looks at predictive. It's predictive in nature, because when you apply that, you see that you're able to predict when assets will fail or something, and you take care of it. But again, they have downside. The run to failure maintenance is cheap. It has an initial low cost. Okay. Your generator packed up. You quickly you tell yourself, you want to use the run to failure maintenance for your generator. That is, you run it until it gets spoiled or it's packed up before you do maintenance. Fine. But that initial cost might look small, but the long-term cost can be very, very devastating, Then we look at the preventive maintenance. We also saw that it's good, but sometimes we change parts that are not bad to change, that are still useful. So because you have a schedule already, you just carry out your maintenance, you spend money, But again, it's better than the run to failure because it saves you some future stress. It helps to identify faults, before it happens. But again, we also know that even with your preventive maintenance, you can always, have fault failures, once in a while. Then predictive maintenance is the best, but it has a very high initial cost. You present that to management, they cannot see the business sense in it. They cannot see the business sense. They cannot see the commercial value of it immediately, and they find it difficult to approve it. So what you do is to try and convince them, or you fall back to, you know, the preventive maintenance. But at the end of the day, you also look at the kind of assets you are maintaining. Assets that are very complicated, you know, assets that are very, very technical in nature. It's better you put that in predictive maintenance or the run to failure maintenance, you know, so that if it is run to failure, once it goes bad, you call in the experts to come and take care of it. But assets that are consumable, assets that are, you know, cheap, very cheap asset, like your light bulb, stuff like that, you put it under the run to failure. So because there's no kind of maintenance you put around that. So that's all we talked about maintenance. So my last, I still want one response from one person, just to be sure that we have a very clear understanding of our last class. One more person. All right, Precious. Precious, let's hear you. Take it away.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Precious.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, it was an interesting class last week. So we talked about the types of maintenance, the planned and the unplanned. We also talk about the run to failure maintenance, where you said it is one of the cheapest. You wait in this kind of maintenance strategy. You wait for the equipment to get spoiled before carrying out a maintenance on it.
Yeah.
And you said it's one of the cheapest. Okay. You also talked about the preventive planned maintenance. You said this is you said okay. Okay, you said it was this one is normally adopted in a mechanical facility. Facilities, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember you said something. Assets, yeah. Yes, yes. And record keeping is also necessary in this kind of maintenance. You also talk about the predictive maintenance that is the best, and is the best, and it's just like, okay, I remember the example you gave that day. You said and that was last week. You said last class, you said when a generator is spoiled, just by maybe something is wrong with the generator, just from the sound alone, you can know that this generator is faulty. Yeah, so you said it's more of monitoring. It has to do with a lot of monitoring, yes. And you talk about the reliability and maintenance. You said it has to do with the combination of the three.
Yeah, combination of the three or two, but the focus is that you want to get your asset to be reliable at a very low cost.
Low cost, yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Precious. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm glad we are really following, and it's not more than that. If you see the assessment, go through the questions, they're just there, and it's important you grab it so that you can answer your question, and you don't have to repeat the exam or something. There's possibility for people to fail, but I know that with this level of attention and everything, I know that all of us are going to be successful. So today we are going to look at facility maintenance, planning, and records. Now, this is where, after you must have decided on a strategy, you now begin to plan towards the maintenance proper. I said something yesterday that it is not at the point of execution that you save costs as a facility manager. When you do that, you are telling your client or your company that you don't actually know what you're doing. It is at the point of planning that you save cost. Okay, when you are planning to maintain maybe the water treatment plant and you want to change filter or whatever you want to change in the water treatment plant, you already know the cost. That is the point you will allocate the best cost for it. It is not when you now execute, you now come and tell management that, oh, to change the media filter, I quoted 600,000, but now we are doing it for 200,000. You have failed. They won't clap for you. It means you are wasting resources. It means that you are even making room to cheat the company. So it is at the planning stage you are able to decide on, the right amount of fund to allocate to a particular facility based on your planning. You plan it, you identify all the activities for the maintenance, and then you allocate fund appropriately. So today I'm still going to talk about the housekeeping rules. Please minimize distraction. You can put your mic mute if you're not saying anything. You raise up your hand if you have anything to contribute or question to ask, and try as much as possible not to be distracted. You've come into this class and you paid so much for it. So just give it the next 2 hours, your best attention. All right. My name is Neobong Charles, and I've done my introduction yesterday, 2 days ago. Now, the outline of this course, introduction. In the introduction, we are going to look at the key consideration, which is the maintenance planning. In Module 2, we are going to look at the maintenance planning process, the step-by-step in maintenance planning. Then number 3, we are going to look at the monitoring and evaluation, because when you make your plan, like what we have in quality management system, you have the plan, do, check, and act, the PDCA. So when you do make your plan, it is your duty to check, to do as in implement the plan, check as in monitor to see the kind of data you generate from that plan, then act if there's a deviation from that plan. So the plan, do, check, and act is what we play in here. Then for Module 4, we look at the maintenance record. We'll look at maintenance record. We said something very important on Wednesday. We must have records for our maintenance. Number 1, it will help us in a whole lot of ways. Number 1, to defend our budget. Number 2, for decision making. Number 3, for historical data, and so much, So it is very, very important to keep records of maintenance. I see facilities manager, because they have, we do generator maintenance after 250 run hours, or we service the borehole annually. You just do it because you have it in your head, no record. That way you'll be unable to convince your client or your company when it comes to fund allocation. Then we are going to look at work order capturing and tracking. Remember, work order is the tool that is a transition tool between the plan and the record. So it is the work order that you use in between the plan and the record to transit, your maintenance and have your record. So you see work order capturing and tracking. Then we'll look at verifying facility inventory. Here you need to know that you need to have your critical spares always, and you know when you need to make a reorder. Sometimes we just sit and wait, and when everything is finished, we want to surprise everybody and we end up surprising ourselves. So, yes, the key consideration, what is maintenance plan? A maintenance activity workflow. Maintenance plan is a maintenance activity workflow. I remember putting up a proposal for a client some days ago, and I sent it to him. A very robust plan, a very robust proposal, and like I told us the other day, these clients are becoming very, very smart. You know, they are becoming very, very aware of facilities management. So it is important for us to build up ourselves, you know, up our game so that we'll be able to, you know, defend whatever we are putting down. I put down a very robust proposal and I sent to them. They thanked me and they sent a mail and told me, okay, fine, your proposal is fine. Please give us the activity workflow. You said you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to maintain this. Give us activity workflow, you know. And I said, yes, these people, they really, really know what they are doing. So that one took me another 1 day or two to work out my activity workflow. But they want to see from stage one, step by step, what you want to carry out. Don't just tell us, oh, for water treatment plant maintenance servicing, oh, 3 million naira. No, nobody wants to see that. What they want to see is the breakdown. And if you give them breakdown, no matter how high your cost is, they will see it there. Everything is made open. Also, maintenance is a plan on how to carry out maintenance. You know, when we talked about the strategy, especially PPM, one thing we need to consider when we are planning maintenance is to consider the manual or the manufacturer specification to show you how you need to carry out the maintenance. Then for assets that may not have that, you need to come up with how you hope to carry out that maintenance. A process of carrying out scheduled services. Now, in maintenance, you must schedule your maintenance. And schedule comes when there is frequency. You know, for example, you're saying you want to maintain your chiller every 2 months from the manufacturer specification. That is the frequency. So you must show a schedule of services that you are carrying out. Then deploy tasks needed to maintain that facility. Then you now deploy the tasks needed to maintain that facility. Remember, also in plan, you must also have competent personnel to do it. Okay? Life cycle view of planning. Now, for you to plan to maintain a particular facility, you must know the facility. I said something on Wednesday that if you have a generator that is 20 years old and another generator that is maybe a new generator, you can be sure, you know, with yourself that you cannot deploy the same strategy for both. In fact, the very old generator, you might deploy more than one strategy to maintain that generator. So if you walk into a facility, or maybe you are employed to manage a facility, the very first thing you will do, yes, get hold of your asset register. But again, you need to do a condition assessment of the assets. Condition assessment is for you to know the condition of the assets, know the lifespan of the assets, know how it's being used, know the depreciation rate, know a lot of things about, so that you can now decide on the best strategy to deploy. You walk into a facility and you have maybe a generator that is over 20 years old and you didn't know, and you say, oh, this generator will be maintaining every 300 hours. You have already failed because that generator cannot run for 300 hours. Then after having your facility condition assessment, of course, you build your asset register. Then after having your register, you now allocate the strategy to each of the assets. Then you now develop your maintenance tasks required for each asset. I see technicians going to maintain maybe an AC. You know, they believe that, oh, we've been doing this thing like 15, 20 years. And when they get to where they want to carry out the maintenance, you see that they will bypass a lot of steps. And at the end of the day, do whatever they like, leave the place. And before you know it, the AC that was cooling and everything was fine, you know, after maintenance, will be leaking water, you know. So sometimes don't say, oh, you know it, oh. Please go with your maintenance task checklist. Facility managers, educate your technical teams to have their checklist. That way, you'll be able to, cover everything you want to cover. I remember some time ago, we sent a technician to go and service an AC in a client's location. The client had to call us back and said, this guy didn't do all that he needed to do because the client knew all the steps. And my guy just went there and just did one, two, three, and just left. So please, we need to deploy the tasks required and follow through. Time and schedule for maintenance. Like I said, for any maintenance that has frequency, then you have to schedule. And you put the time to carry out maintenance. Some time ago, in a site where the AC person, the generator person wanted to carry out maintenance of generator, and we have announced to the resident that, okay, in the next 2 hours, the light will be back and all that. On getting there, the generator technician decided to, loosen the water, what's it called now? This tank that we put water, and now found it very difficult to, yes, exactly, the radiator. And, the guy stayed there. We are waiting. In fact, the resident started calling. You said 2 hours, oh, what is happening? Because he encountered a more difficult, problem. So we need to plan our schedule very well, plan our time, knowing what we are going to do there, and going with the right tools. One problem with technicians is that they don't go with right tools. I remember when I wanted to service my car, and the mechanic was telling me that he doesn't have the particular tool to loosen this knot, that is going to cut it. I said, why are you going to cut the knot? So when you cut it out, what are you going to do? He said, no, that they are going to find a way to fit. I said, no, let us go. I'm going to use my money to buy that particular tool. We bought that tool, and he did it. So let us try as much as possible to educate our technician. Then think of the replacement plan with a good maintenance culture. You are able to tell your company or your client that, okay, at so time, this asset can be replaced. So this you can only do with a good maintenance culture. You see that a particular part you'll be replacing and replacing and replacing, or the mean time between failure of a particular asset is just increasing. Then you can tell yourself from your records of your maintenance that please, we need to change. This is how much you are spending from on maintenance alone. Now, and also remember that one way we can do that is from our facility condition index. The facility condition index tells us, the condition of our facilities. Either we change it, or we replace, or we repair. It depends on what the index is giving us. Now, maintenance planning horizon. Some maintenance are short-term and some are long-term. Long-term maintenance is basically operational. You get that generator, you said, okay, the short-term maintenance is, okay, in 3 years, we want to see how this generator will be functioning and all that. So it's basically operation, the things you do, the tasks you carry out, the services objectives, the task actions, the remedial action, the routine maintenance you carry out on that asset. So it is mainly operational. The resources you require, you can tell your company that, oh, in the next 3 years for this particular asset, this is the resources required. Then the performance indicator. At the end of the day, you want to check, oh, is this asset really doing well using your FCI and all that? Then the long term is basically strategic in nature. We're talking about the vision and the mission. Oh, this asset, what is our vision concerning this asset? What is our plan concerning this asset? How do we intend to go? What is the roadmap? Are we, in the next 10 years, are we planning to replace our generator? Are we planning to replace the boiler? Are we planning to remove all the ACs and put new ones? So it is mainly strategic, and it comes from, from the strategic planning the strategic planning level, you know, after the purpose level. So you must key your strategy to what company is saying concerning, you know, the asset. You are using a warehouse, and the company is saying that, oh, in the next 10 years, we want to expand our import and all that. And you are looking at the warehouse you have, you know that the warehouse can only take just 1/10 of what you are talking about. So you begin to think of the expansion, the things you put there. So you plan according to what the organization is planning. So like I said, the short term is the operational things we do. Then the long term is looking at, you know, general, the investment we want to put into it, the CapEx, when are we going to change these things and all that. Okay, so in our maintenance plan, the plan will include detailed description of each maintenance task. I said it before, there's difference between servicing and maintenance. You know, sometimes you just put in your budget, I want to service the sewage treatment plan. It doesn't say anything, you understand? But if it's maintenance, it means you are going to list out the maintenance tasks you are going to carry on the sewage treatment plant. If you're going to change blower, you put it there. If you're going to service the dosing, whatever, but you list it out under your maintenance tasks. Again, what again will be in that plan is a frequency of performing each task. Frequency of performing each task, the resource planning. So you need to plan resources. Resources is very, very important. In fact, in maintenance, one key thing that you must have is your resources. And I'm talking about your human resources, your technical team. If you have a very wonderful plan, well stretched out with frequency, equipment and everything, and you have one lousy technician, it can mess you up. So resources is very, very important. And not only that, we see that, you know, sometimes you see technicians, they want to move in groups, you know. Some can trek 1 kilometer. I remember when we are managing a facility, you know, where we have a very massive facility. So before you get from one point to another, you have to trek like a kilometer or even more. You see technicians group themselves, 3, 4 of them, going to one location just to carry out one repairs or maintenance, you know, then leaving the work to suffer. So at the end of the day, you are not meeting your maintenance obligation. Clients are on your neck, you know, so you need to plan your resources very well. Then equipment condition. The equipment condition will decide the kind of maintenance you carry out on it. And remember, based on your historical data on that equipment, you are able to deploy the right maintenance strategy and then the right maintenance tasks that will be carried out. Type of maintenance tasks, I've said that. Task delivery timeline, very important. If your client is telling you that I cannot stay without light for 30 minutes, and you want to carry out maintenance on the generator, and you are telling the client 2 hours, you are already setting yourself for escalation. So that will involve a lot of engagement and all that. So we need to plan our maintenance timeline. You must know what you are going to change. You must know what you are going to do. You must allocate time to each of these inventory or this critical spare that you are going to place. It is not when you want to carry out maintenance, that's when you want to go to the market to buy to buy the critical spare. So it must be planned ahead of time. Thank God we now have tools, you know, CMMS tools that can, you know, prompt you a week or 2 weeks before that you have a maintenance schedule, so you can plan with it, you know. But you can be in a place where they don't have that tool, that software, so you need to come up with a workable solution. Care of equipment and system, continuous care of equipment. You check how that equipment has been cared of. Sometimes we over maintain an equipment. Sometimes we maintain. So we want to adequately maintain that equipment for 100% reliability. At this point, hope I am very loud and clear. I'm using this mic now so that people will hear. All right, thank you. All right, purpose of maintenance plan. The purpose of maintenance plan. Yes, number one is to ensure that the facility is functioning safely, effectively, and efficiently. Safety is very, very important, and that's why one of the knowledge area in facilities management is HSSC. You know, safety, security, health, environment is very, very important. So you want to ensure that your asset is not impacting negatively on the environment. You want to ensure that the asset is not creating hazard or bringing injury to the operator or the user. You want to ensure that it is working effectively. That is, whatever you put in, you are getting optimum results. You want to ensure that it's efficient. Good. Then reduce the possibility of hazard and accident. I've said that. The purpose again is to reduce service disruption. Service disruption. You know, you can be in a place where you are managing a facilities that is occupied by mainly foreigners, especially those up north, Canada, America, and all that, Russia. Please, you want to make sure that their AC is on 2-4, you know, so they don't want any disruption. Even if you are coming to do a kind of servicing, you have to be fast and, you know, return the asset to its functionality, not to, you know, delay. Now, optimum availability and reliability of facility. Yes, it must be available, it must be reliable. I worked with an oil company, you know, some time ago, and their generator, they have their turbine that, you know, provide power. They have, of course, from the national grid, and they also have generator. In fact, they add whatever it means to ensure that they have power 24/7, no break. You know, they have all that. And they want to ensure that once the light goes off, immediately it is coming back. No story. Whoever, I remember one of those times, one of the FM made a mistake when he was supposed to move diesel, you know, to the generator, you know. He didn't do that. And unfortunately for him, the next day, the light went off and somebody was in the lift. The light only went off for 30 minutes. And that guy was sacked. His boss was given a query. So that is the level of, you know, reliability and availability that some clients need. You know that sometimes even in that establishment, they will just on their generator and run it for 2 hours, for 4 hours, without load, not on load, just to run it and to ensure that if the turbine fails and NEPA fails, generator can pick up, no story. So that's the level of reliability some clients want from us. And that's why if you are running estate, that will tell you, oh, we need 24 hours power supply. So then you do all you can to deliver on that promise. Okay? Make informed decision on systems. So the purpose of maintenance is also to make informed decision. I said that maintenance is one tool. Maintenance plan is one tool you can use to tell your organization, look, from our records, though, we better throw away this assets because it's not giving us what we want. Okay, so it is used. It helps to repair, replace, renew. That is, you make that informed decision whether to repair an asset, whether to outrightly replace it, or whether to renew. All right. Then benefit of maintenance planning. Easier to budget for future maintenance. When you plan your maintenance very well now, in future, it is easier for you to budget. If you have a very good maintenance plan, when you are budgeting the following year, it's for you to just pull out your plan and begin to, just do a little editing and, present. It is cost savings. When you plan, you save cost. Like I said, it is only at the planning stage you can save cost. It's only at the planning stage you can say, oh, I want to deploy cleaners to this facility. How much are we going to pay the cleaners? Oh, generally the amount is so amount. Okay, this is what we are going to pay cleaners for that facility. Oh, I want to service AC in this facility. Okay, how much are we servicing? What's the least cost I can get for servicing the AC? You meet your vendors, you bargain with them, you get the very least cost. Maybe the company is looking at 10,000 per unit, but you have brought it down to 6,000, 5,000 at the planning stage. You have saved costs for the organization. Reduce cost of overtime. Reduce cost of overtime, as in when you do your maintenance planning very well and doing your maintenance, you won't have cost to tell people to stay, and be working, or you won't have cost to call maybe the vendor to come and do extra work, because you've done your plan, you know when they are coming in and you know when they are going out. Better maintenance workflow. I said something about workflow. The workflow is very, very important. It shows that you know what you are doing. That's at the minimum. Then it also shows that you are strategic in nature. Then faster execution of planned maintenance action. It helps you to, execute your planned maintenance action very, very fast, because you already know what to do. Your team knows what to do. So you are not telling somebody to, you're not teaching anybody at that point. Decrease in equipment downtime, reduction in major repairs on equipment, reduce premature replacement of parts and components, increase life expectancy of equipment, regular equipment maintenance. It gives you an opportunity to maintain your equipment regularly, as you are touching it when due. Avoidance of future larger problems in equipment. So these are all the benefits of the maintenance planning. Keeps facility running effectively and efficiently. Helps in being abreast of small issues. All right. Okay, guides to maintenance planning. Number one, what will guide you in your planning? You see, everything is tying together. When I'm talking about this thing, it seems as though I'm repeating it, but we are repeating it so that we are grounded in it, so that when we go out and we are doing the job, it's on our mind and we are acting, in the right and proper way. Remember, quality is very important. Getting it right the first time. Because if you get it wrong the first time, it means there's possibility you get it wrong again and again. So you do everything possible so that you get it right the first time. Determine the scope for the maintenance program. You determine the scope. What is this maintenance program going to cover? Are you covering both reactive and PPM and predictive maintenance? In this asset, what and what? Are you using the reliability centered approach? No, so you determine the scope. You determine the timeline. You set timelines for everything. And you also determine the resource allocation. Like I said, resources is very, very important, both the financial resource. If it is a run to failure kind of maintenance you are making a plan for, do you have money or do you have the critical spare on ground so that when there's a failure, you are immediately, attend to it? I've been in a facility where we don't have money to do anything. It is when we have the failure, we start calling and start running around. And by then, the occupants, the residents, the clients will be looking at you and say, wow, this person doesn't really know what to do, Develop maintenance checklists. Very important. Like I said, a technician is going to carry out maintenance on a generator or any asset at all. It doesn't go with checklist. How are you going to be sure that you are going to do a thorough job? There's a possibility of not completing the job. In fact, it is good now that, like in Max-Migold, we have a software. In fact, we deployed a technology whereby we go to carry out a maintenance, or we do even inspection in a facility. We have a QR code, attached to the different location. So when we go there, we'll just scan the QR code. It gives us everything we need to do there. So if an FM is saying, I'm going for inspection, remember, inspection is the key thing for an FM. If you're an FM and you don't do inspection, then you are not an FM. Go and look for something else to do. If inspection is almost 90% of what we do. But when you are going on inspection, you make sure your eyes are in your socket and not in your pocket, so that you will be able to see the things that need to be seen. And sometimes you can also call somebody. You can look for a colleague and say, I've been in this location for a while. There is this tendency of things are becoming normal. When defects are becoming normal, you won't see it again, especially when you are in a facility where the client doesn't want to do any kind of repairs. You see that a broken wash hand basin will become normal. They'll say, so you get some other person to do that inspection with you. The person will help you to pick things. I love it when I see facilities managers that are able to pick the listing like broken tiles, the listing like, paint, coming off the wall. Simple thing, because that's what makes you a facilities manager. So inspection is like everything. So what we do there, we scan the QR code, it pulls out the checklist of everything we need to do. And there is no way you will miss it. At the end, we are churning out a lot of issues, a lot of defects. Our deferred maintenance is growing. Deferred maintenance list is growing every day, and it means we are on top of what we are doing. So the checklist is very, very important. Then your maintenance records. You need to keep your maintenance records. If not for anything, for audit's sake. Max-Migold is an ISO certified company, and one thing we do at our sites is that we carry out audit now and then. And one thing we want to see is your maintenance records. You cannot tell me that you carried out maintenance without a record. The listing like your fire extinguisher, you need record. You need to have a record for it. All right. The key consideration is physical asset and inventory. In planning for the facility maintenance, you identify all the assets and their inventories. You identify the assets, you look at all the critical things, the critical spares that you need to have in that asset, the inventory and everything you identify. You list it out, and you also put a buffer that at this point, when you get to this level, you need to you put a reorder level that will make you reorder for critical spares, especially as plumbing spares and all that. Determine what will be included in the maintenance plan. You determine what will be included in the maintenance plan. Remember, one very important thing is your workflow in your maintenance plan. All right, maintenance planning process. Okay, we know about the asset register, so I'm not going to talk much about this. Need to know and have a record of assets in order to choose a maintenance strategy. Sometimes we advise students that because in this course, in this training, you are going to develop your asset register. And one thing you will do there is for each asset, you will determine the kind of strategy to deploy. So on that template, Excel sheet, you will determine the kind of asset, the kind of strategy to deploy. And whoever is marking, when we are marking, we look at that to see if you have deployed, the right strategy to deploy, and estimate maintenance budgets. So what is asset register? We know what asset register is. Let's not go into that. Okay, maintenance scope. I've said something about maintenance scope, a document that outlines maintenance activity, what you intend to cover. In quality management system, when you are determining your scope, it is important for you to tell the certification body what that scope will cover and what that scope will not cover. If you determine your scope and you didn't indicate what the scope will cover, it is an NC, it's a non-conformance. The same thing applies here. When you are developing your maintenance scope, you need to tell what the scope will cover and what it will not cover, clearly stated. But what we are more concerned here is the step-by-step things that scope will cover. Work to be performed under the maintenance contract. You need to understand your contract and what to be performed. One of our sites the other day, we were having one argument, and from the contract, we are supposed to have a quarterly fumigation, but for some reason, quarterly is supposed to, we're supposed to have like 4 months. Every 4 months, we carry out fumigation of that site. But the interpretation the FM has was quarterly, and quarterly was like three months, So someone had a discussion with the client and everything. I said, we are doing quarterly fumigation, every 3 months and all that. But when we went back to the contract document, we saw that we have shot ourselves on the foot. We had to find a way, to get that done. So we need to have a clear understanding of the maintenance contract. What is inside? Sometimes client wants you to do more than necessary, but it is your duty to understand what is inside the contract. Work broke down into specific tasks. You need to break down your work into specific tasks. Like I said, when I sent my proposal, I just said maintenance of WTP 3 million. And the man said, come on, 3 million. How do I go to, what are you doing that is 3 million? If he had signed that contract like that, it's easy for me to, during execution, I'll just do 1 or 2 things, I'll just go my way. It's not 3 million. But he said, give me the work, the breakdown of what you are going to do. All right? Clearly defines client expectation. It is important to define client expectation. One thing we do in Max-Migold and as ISO certified company, when our client gives us maybe their PO or their request or whatever, what do? We do a customer requirement review. And in this customer requirement review, we sit down, we look at their expectations, and we tell them that, okay, we first understand their expectation. And if it's something we can meet, we tell them, okay, we can meet. If it's something we cannot meet, we say, okay, this is how far we can go, but you can also do this and still get a better result. So you need to understand, define the client expectation. It's not that you are removing money, you pay for me. Sometimes clients, they may not understand their expectation. One thing they just want is that, oh, we want 24 hours power supply. I remember in my last estate I managed, we had an agreement that we are going to give 24 hours power supply. But economy sets in, had, fuel and other things. At the point we just knew that we can't meet up 24 hours. It was a battle, The expectation is that, we paid for 24 hours, so that's why we are paying so much money. Yes, you are paying so much money, but the money you are paying is not even enough. At some location, we now said, okay, fine, we are not buying the diesel again. Don't pay us the money for diesel. Put your money together and go and buy diesel and enjoy your 24 hours power supply. I say, yes, we will do that. They did that for 1 week, and before you know it, they came back. We had to now rearrange and tweak and say, okay, 18 hours, 12 hours, and all that. So we need to define their expectations. Sometimes they expect so much, they don't even understand the technicalities, they don't even understand the delivery, the deliverables and the milestones, helps in smooth functioning of activities. With a very good scope, there's smooth functioning of activity. It avoids conflicts in a contract, yes. So when you put down your scope very well, and everybody is on the same page, then there is no conflicts. Everybody agrees. The maintenance scope components. So in the scope, these are the things you will see, the objective of that maintenance plan, the deliverables, the things you are going to deliver, the timeline, the work procedure, the maintenance schedule, then the timeline, the cost of the maintenance, the service level agreement. When you hope to complete your maintenance, what is the agreement? Is your service level agreement 100%? Is it 90%? You know, you need to clearly state that service level agreement, the maintenance requirement, what you require and all that. Okay, we'll quickly look at condition, facility, conduct facility condition assessment. Like I said, before you start anything, you must do your facility assessment. The process of carrying out analysis of an asset condition. So this is just to bring you back to the things you need to do before you even begin to plan your maintenance. This involves a team of one or more experts scoping defects. Now there's a contract I was involved in, some time ago, and the people that went to do a kind of facility condition assessment, in fact, they didn't even do the facility condition assessment. What they did was a kind of due diligence to just assess and put up contract and a budget for it. Eventually they got the job. Whether the client wanted to scam them or whether they wanted to scam the client, we didn't know. But at the end of the day, we got the job and we head up to maintain. When we got to the field, we realized that what was on ground was more than us. These people, they have a defined maintenance list of over 300 and something defects that were not rectified. And these defects are not just maybe change tap or change wash and basin. These are like serious civil work, serious concrete work, serious things. And we didn't know. And already the float for the week is not even enough to even touch the jobs that are coming. We got to a point that the new jobs that were coming were just so much that we were just grappling to, we were sinking, finding a place to just go because we didn't do condition assessment, a proper condition assessment. We just believed that, it's a facility. They told us, it's mostly landscaping work. It's mostly landscaping work. But we are talking about an estate of over 400 bungalows and a plant. And you're telling us it's just landscaping work. It was a mess. It was a complete mess. At some point, the client and us, we started fighting. When it comes to a point where you and client, you are fighting, you know that the facility management, whatever is a complete mess. There's a breakdown of the whole thing, So we really need to do the condition assessment. So even if you get the contract before doing a proper condition assessment, the moment you deploy to that location, the first thing you need to do is to do that condition assessment and highlight all the defects. Remember that we use the condition, the facility condition index to determine whether to replace an asset or whether to repair. That analysis will help you to know the condition of the facility. The purpose of facility condition assessment is determine the present building efficiencies. You determine the present building deficiency, develop costs for remedial action. When you determine everything, you say, okay, fine. One thing, we have signed the contract, and the good thing is that we have the operational costs and the fixed costs. From the fixed costs, there's nothing we can do. We said we are going to provide maintenance, and all that for the fixed cost and pay salary and everything. Operational costs, this is what we quote. But with these defects we are unearthing, we don't think this operational cost will be enough. So as we are solving the problem, you are, approving for us. If we need more funds, you approve for us. So it's easier that way. Make informed decision regarding potential hazard. Provide a benchmark of building present condition. Plan projects for maintenance, repair, and renewal, where you need to do projects, upgrades of buildings, upgrades of facility, upgrade of assets. You'll be able to do that by means of your facility condition assessment. Improve on forecasting for facility renewal. Yeah. Then define maintenance requirements. It helps you to define the maintenance requirement, what you need to do in your maintenance. Reduce deferred maintenance backlog. Yes, this is very, very important. Like I said, the backlog of deferred maintenance that we inherited was massive. And that is, it was something else. But when you do your facilities condition assessment, you are able to reduce deferred maintenance backlog. And with a good deferred maintenance backlog, you'll be able to use your resources. When you are giving fund, if you have a good deferred maintenance logbook, you'll be able to use your fund very well. When a fund is being approved, you know what and what to do. But if you don't have deferred maintenance backlog, you'll be surprised that when fund is given to you, that's when you want to change all the bulbs in the facility. Even the ones that are good and the ones you want to change, you will begin to do things that you are not supposed to do. While the critical things are there, your radiator is bad, the radiator is leaking water, is there, and you are supposed to change it. So you need to do your deferred maintenance logbook and then categorize the deferred maintenance based on need, based on their criticality. That way you'll be able to utilize your fund. So in FCA, we review previous maintenance record. Sometimes you walk into a facility, maybe you want to get a job, they want to give you a job, the client will tell you, we don't have asset register, we don't have anything. Just know that you are heading for trouble. So it is at that point you need to tell them, okay, we need to have like a 3-month transition plan. Within these 3 months, these are the things that are going to happen. You may not be getting excellent services from us or excellent results because we are trying to fix things, we are trying to put things in place. I remember when we got a contract with Shell, and for the first three years, first 2 years, we were doing an SLA. The SLA target they gave to us was 95%, but our SLA was like 65. We told them, fine, look, you don't expect us to do magic. You need to do the facility condition assessment. We need to do a lot of things, and it is a transition, process. After that 3 years, we moved, and we are getting the SLA of 95, 98, and all that. So this is the time for you. You go to that kind of facility, and they are telling you don't have record, you don't have asset register. You need to do this condition assessment to find out if the facility is overly maintained, maybe under-maintained or properly maintained. Of course, from the condition, you will know all that. All right? Preventive maintenance plan development. So these are the bullet points of how you develop the preventive maintenance plan. Decide on the assets to be maintained. We are saying it again. Evaluate asset costs or repair and replacement. So when you decide on the asset to be maintained, you evaluate the cost. How much is even this asset? Considering the depreciation and everything. How much will it cost us to repair it? And how much will it cost us, to do outright replacement? So from your facility condition assessment and your facility condition index, when you do the mathematics and it's tending to 1, and your answer is tending to 1, there's a calculation. Just know that that facility needs to be replaced outrightly. But if it is giving you 0.0 something, you know that, okay, fine, we can still repair, and all that. But once you do your evaluation, the cost of maintaining and repairing that facility, all over the cost of getting a new facility, and it's giving you 1, then you need to advise your client that, or your company, that you need to replace that facility. Level of priority for the assets. The priority of the assets, how important that asset is, you place it based on priority. On your asset register, you can categorize, your asset based on priority. Then consult equipment manufacturer's manual. Of course, determine maintenance tax from the manual. Yes, some manual will tell you clearly what you need to do for a particular asset. Assign skill level and labor time for each task. Assign skill level people. Your technician needs to be good. Sometimes you deploy technicians that, maybe a plumber, and what the plumber is thinking about is just wrench and all that. And maybe for any reason, he's the only one on duty that night. You have an electrical fault. That plumber may not be able to do anything. So sometimes we encourage facilities manager to give your technical team some level of training so that they will be a kind of multi-skill. They will be experts in what they are doing, but also be able to attend to minimal levels of issues in other trades, so that if they are on duty and something happens, we'll be able to say, okay, take care of this, we can do this and do that. Then schedule maintenance tasks, schedule equipment downtime. Need to tell and say, okay, this is the equipment downtime between now and in 1 hour, this equipment will be down for us to change oil and do that, or in 2 hours, or in 3 hours. Very clear about that. Create weekly plans for maintenance tasks. Create a plan for reactive maintenance needs. All right. Train maintenance personnel in maintenance procedure using work method statement. In health, HSC, health, safety, and environment, there's something every technical person must know, the work method statement. There are some facilities that you want to go and work. If you don't show them your work method statements, you won't even touch the job. They won't even allow you to enter. For example, in Shell, if you don't have your work method statement, you don't have your job hazard analysis, you don't have your permit to work. If it's a job that, if it's not a routine work that require permits, then you won't even touch it. All these documents, though they are safety centered, they also provide quality to the kind of work you want to do and gives a step-by-step workflow of what you want to do. Put safety measure in place. Put safety measure in place. There are some facility you enter, if it is not safe, you do not work. There are some facility that if it is raining, everybody, technician, stay where you are. Especially electrical technicians, don't even bother to do anything. Availability of safety data sheets, job safety analysis, and permits to work. Okay. Okay, established process of tracking maintenance activity. Like I said, it's not only to plan. You need to plan, you need to implement, you need to check that it's tracked, and you need to take action if there's a deviation from your plan. So you must put a process for tracking your maintenance activity. You can be doing a particular maintenance on an asset, maybe a PPN, and after tracking, you are seeing that it's not giving you the kind of results that you want. It is at that point you need to, from the data you generated by monitoring, you can say, okay, let us change strategy. You can change strategy by rescheduling labor or, putting the right labor or the right personnel. You can change strategy by getting the right materials. Sometimes, like for us, ISO certified company, we have our approved vendors list. In short, what we do is that we have an agreement with some EOM, and we get our material directly from them, because fake material can mess you up. And there's some establishment that they will tell you, get all your material from this vendor, from this registered vendor. And if any reason you get it from another vendor and it causes a problem, then they will take it out on you. So also you track the cost. How much are you spending on this maintenance you are doing? Then track your tool. And one way of tracking tool, have your tool checklist, so that every week, if not every day, you can look at your tools and be checking it and know that you have complete tools. Otherwise, your technicians can mess you up, removing the tools and all that. And then when you want to work, and that's when they will say, oh, there's no tool. An example of such system is computerized maintenance management system. Yes, a computerized maintenance management system can help you do all these things. Yours is just to, log in the necessary data and information, and it will be prompting you. It can generate the schedule. It can generate the materials that you need. Of course, it will tell you how much you can spend and the tools you need. In fact, it's a very good software to work with, but we know that most establishments don't have that. So computerized record and reporting. Record and report maintenance activity. We said that scheduling maintenance activity, manage maintenance work requests effectively and efficiently. Prioritize maintenance work, managing resources, benchmark, set SLA and KPI. You need to set your service level agreement and your key performance indicators. This one will show you if you are doing fine. I was telling my team today in a meeting that one of the important, one of the benefits this computerized maintenance management system has given to us is that when we do inspection, like I said, you scan your QR code, it tells you everything you need to do there, and you decide the things that are okay, the items that are okay, the assets that are okay, the assets that are not okay, the assets that are partially okay. At the end of the day, that information is stored in that software. Then at the end of the week, you can go back, to the back end of that software and download on an Excel sheet the inspection you carried out. On that inspection sheet, it now show you, assets that are okay, assets that are not okay, assets that are partially okay. From there, you can tell your clients the condition, the health of the entire facility. Like I was telling them, for a facility that is doing well, the assets that are okay must be 70% of the entire asset. The assets that are partially okay must be 20%. Then the assets that are not okay must be 10%. Which means that if you do your deferred maintenance work very well, you can convert the assets that are not that are partially okay to be okay, and you'll be getting like 80%. So you can tell your client that from my inspection, I'm seeing that your asset is 70% okay, so we are doing well. 80% okay, we are doing well. But when it is less than 70%, 60%, it means you are not doing well. It means you have so much in your deferred maintenance list. So the computerized maintenance management system will help you do that. Then generate maintenance and management reports and historical data. Yes, this will help you to generate management reports. You present it to management, and then you'll be able to take decision. And one way to reduce reactive and unplanned maintenance is for you to be proactive in nature in your inspection. Proactive as in you picking up the defect first before the client. Sometimes in some establishment, that's an SLA. They'll tell you if you pick the default first, there's a mark for that. But if we, the client, if we see the defects first, if we identify first, then we are going to score you down. So what we do is to do proactive inspection, picking up defects more before the client sees them. And that way it push up our SLA. So during inspection is a time for you to, proactively pick up defects. It gives your clients that satisfaction that, okay, you know what you are doing. Or when it comes, did you see that there's a leakage in that room? So we've seen it, we picked it up. I'm going to send you the quotation or the work order and all that. It knows that you are on top of your job. Okay, maintenance checklist. Like I said, this is very key. Don't go doing maintenance without a checklist. The items on a maintenance checklist will vary, yes, on the maintenance strategy being adopted. So for the different maintenance strategies, the items will vary. You can't have the same item in the plan preventive maintenance and the same item in the predictive maintenance. A preventive maintenance checklist will vary from a predictive maintenance checklist. The reason being that the former involves taking equipment out of service for maintenance so that a larger problem does not occur in the future. The latter, which is predictive maintenance, involves the monitoring of equipment to determine when maintenance will be necessary. Remember, preventive maintenance is like you are taking the equipment out of service. You are shutting it down. For example, the AC, you want to maintain AC, you are shutting down the AC to carry out your maintenance, right? But predictive maintenance, you are not doing anything. You just put in all the monitoring devices and it will tell you when maintenance will take place. That way you can plan well and get your work done, even without taking out the equipment. All right, at this point, we are going to take a break for 5 minutes. I need us to just go through our notes. When we come back, we are going to, take some questions and then we go back. I know that we've said a lot, so let me just give us 3 to 5 minutes to, download, and so that when we come back, we can go on. We're looking at monitoring and evaluation when we come back. Thank you very much. Questions or contribution? Nobody? Hello, Barakat, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay, yeah, I saw a chat that my audio is not coming out well.
I think it's better now. I think it was the network then.
Okay, because I'm using this mouthpiece, I think it's even better using the this than talking direct to the system.
It was the network.
Okay. All right, monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring, like I said, monitoring and evaluation is all about checking that your maintenance plan is delivering the kind of results that you want. Evaluating, sometimes we use percentage in terms of evaluation. You want to look at all your assets and you want to ask yourself, what is the compliance level of your maintenance? What is the how effective is the maintenance plan? You know, you want to show that. I want to tell management that this tool ensures maintenance are executed as planned. Used to assess maintenance action effectively. So when you monitor, you are checking to ensure that maintenance is executed as planned. Monitoring involves providing feedback on maintenance activities and process. So if you have a 1-year maintenance plan, you shouldn't wait until the end of the year for you to be, giving a kind of feedback on the performance. So you need to put a time frame at intervals, weekly, monthly, to give a kind of check on the activities that you are doing. Is it meeting up? Do you need to change strategy and all that? Identifying maintenance problems. So monitoring helps us to identify maintenance problems. When you do your monitoring very well, you see the problem in maintenance. You'll be able to say if that particular maintenance strategy is meeting up what you want. Now, taking corrective actions on the identified problems. Like I said, it's like a plan, do, check, and act cycle. You did your plan, the maintenance plan. You do, which is the implementation of the plan. You check, which is the monitoring of the plan. And then you take action, which is the corrective action, if there is a deviation from what you plan. Then evaluation involves addressing maintenance plan strength and weakness. You want to check if that maintenance plan is good enough. Assessing the identified maintenance problem. You assess the problem that you identify. You assess the problem, assess the effectiveness of maintenance activities. Very important. Then reviewing maintenance record. Setting up methods for corrective actions. Monitoring and evaluation also involves stakeholders identification. Who are the stakeholders in this plan that you are in this plan that you're making? So you must take into consideration stakeholders. That's why in quality management system, we talk about interested parties. When you are drawing up your plan, who are the stakeholders? Who are the interested parties? You take them into consideration. Selection of evaluation questions, allocation of resources, timeline for monitoring and evaluation activities. Establish the scope. Of course, we've talked about scope, which involves clarifying what should be monitored and evaluated. So even in evaluation, you must have clarified what should be monitored and evaluated, and what is your KPI, your performance indicator. What will tell you that if I meet this, I'm actually meeting the maintenance plan goal. Set up monitoring and evaluation plan. What forms the plan? What will form the plan? Then establish method for data collection and analysis. How do you collect data when you make your plan? If you want to carry out maintenance, preventive maintenance for all the assets in your facilities that you have categorized under preventive maintenance, how do you collect the data from all this, that at the end of the day, you want to tell management or the clients that you have done 95% maintenance compliance. You know, the general standard for PPM compliance is 95%. Some establishments want 100%. It means if you schedule a particular facility for maintenance, you must do it, come what may. But some other companies will say, okay, because of some situation that will be out of control, you might miss, you know, the maintenance schedule. So, but what we can allow is 95% compliance. So you want to look at all your assets and you say, oh, at the end of the year, we have 95% compliance to maintenance. Develop a communication process. Who do you report to? How do you report it and all that? Establish what will be communicated. Yes, very important. Like I said, you know, what you should be communicating is not to go and say, oh, generator is not working or generator is working. No, you can write, oh, this year we have 95 compliance to PPM. It will tell the client that, okay, for all the assets that was placed on PPM, 95% of it were done, which is a good score. Okay, set reporting lines. Okay, maintenance record. This is very important. And one of the things we use in maintenance keeping record is the work order. The work order is the action tool. Like I said, it is the transition tool between the plan and the record. So with a work order for PPM, the work order will show everything that you need to do from the plan and to the execution. So it's a transition tool between the plan and the execution and recording. Then equipment history files. So one of the things you keep as maintenance record is the equipment history files. Then verifying the facility inventory. You need to have the inventory of that equipment you are managing. Then annual PPM schedule, annual preventive maintenance schedule. This is very important. Clients want to see your preventive maintenance schedule on a spreadsheet, as simple as Excel. You just put it on an Excel sheet. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing it. If you don't have the CMMS tool. So this also is a record. So we've talked about the record. What are the records? There are written notes that provide documentation about the upkeep of a certain piece of equipment. Keeping an adequate log of maintenance activities is considered good business practice, yes? So you have, once you have your maintenance schedule, and once you carry out your maintenance, it's just as simple as going back to your schedule and tick done. That is a simple way of tracking and also maintaining record. But again, a good auditor, we want to see the work order for that particular maintenance that was carried out. A good auditor want to see a sign off by the client that, you know, the job has been carried out. You know, some people have that schedule, and with the schedule, the technicians, they communicate the schedule to the technicians and say, oh, when it is May 2nd, you need to do this. Without a record, without a work order, it is difficult to audit that kind of system, and it is difficult for you to prove to auditor or clients that you actually carried out that maintenance. Records are particularly useful in maintenance management because it ensures equipment are kept in good condition, offer a way to manage and track repair, and preventive upkeep expenses. The record management, the professional practice of managing the record of an organization. Number one, one way of managing a record for a particular facility is to have the record of the life cycle of that facility. You need to know the useful life of that facility. And while maintaining, you also need to keep record to see if you are actually pushing that equipment to reach the useful life. From the time they are created to their eventual disposal. From the time you create that document to the eventual disposal of that document must be kept. Remember, some documents stays forever, especially records. You know, if they are just checklists or how do I put it, just ordinary documentation that you're not supposed to maintain, you can dispose of it, you know, after some time. But some documents can stay for 15 years, 20 years, and some can even stay forever during the life cycle of that equipment. So those are the kind of records you need to keep. For your maintenance record, can stay for a very long time, for 5 years, for 10 years, depending on the life cycle of that asset. It involves identifying, classifying, storing. You know, you need to identify the kind of documents you are keeping. You classify it. Is it a very, very important document, or is it just a checklist that cannot be retained? Is it a record? If it is a record, you know it must be kept for a very long time for audit purpose. And you also identify the way you store your records so that it is easily retrievable and not destroyed. And security, securing a document that you must keep, that must not disappear from site and put everybody in trouble. You know, like somebody that is monitoring this diesel consumption, and all of a sudden, because some rackets must have gone on, before you know it, the diesel tracking log disappears, is missing. So critical document like that must be secured well, you know, because there's no how you convince client that you have not done something if your diesel record is missing. Retrieving, easily retrievable, and tracking. Destroying or permanently preserving, like I said, some documents can stay, you know, for 15 years before you destroy it. Some can stay for as long as that asset. So it depends on what you want to achieve through that documentation. Yes, we've talked about documentation. The purpose of maintaining documentation. A maintained record can be invaluable in assisting service technicians with diagnosing repeat problems with a machine or vehicle. Good records help ensure that a piece of equipment is performing in line with any manufacturer's warranty. Helps to track when a piece of equipment needs to undergo preventive maintenance. So your record helps you to track. We've talked about purpose of maintaining records. So we'll just move on. Then benefit of performing maintenance and keeping record. Number one, preventing expensive repairs, establish individualized maintenance program, increase ease of warranty claims. Good. This is very important. For an asset that is not well maintained, you can lose your warranty, you know. So if the supplier or the manufacturer is saying, this is how we want you to maintain this equipment, so that if anything happens, you can claim your warranty. If you don't do it the way you are instructed in the manual, then it means they will not, you cannot claim that warranty. So one thing is very important. Try to carry out your maintenance based on the manufacturer's specification. You know, performing maintenance and record increase safety for operators. Safety for operators. When we have records, it will tell you, okay, the fan of this particular asset is not working well. Oh, the door to that asset is broken. So when you are going, be careful. So there should be a record telling you about, you know, the facility. Increased longevity through accountability, identifying trends across makes, model, or component. This will help you identify trends, better understanding of your assets. Okay, so records will tell us what type of work was carried out when it was performed. So these are the maintenance record procedure. Make an inventory of all equipment, include any item that needs to be periodically inspected or repaired, assign a tracking number for each item, decide on keeping record manually or automatically, keep a backup copy, whether manually or automatically, update records whenever work is performed. So whenever work is performed, you update record. And I like the bullet point number 5. Ensure you back up all your record, whether manually or automatically. I'm coming to your facility. I want to carry out an audit. I will not look at your soft copy, diesel, tracking log. I want to see the one that the technician, filled himself with his handwriting, So it's very, very important to know what we are keeping and how we are keeping it for easy retrieval and presenting them when needed. So these are the record keeping guidelines, the good filing system. Now, when you are keeping record, you must follow a good filing system. One important thing in keeping record is how to name your record so that you'll be able to retrieve it. You look at some people's desktop, you see a whole lot of files, different kind of file, and you wonder, how is this person working? You find it so difficult to access, some information. So by this, you must learn how to name your document. You can use alphabetical naming, you can use whatever, but the thing is that create a naming system that will help you access your document without issues, without problems. Even in audit, during audit, quality management system audit, one key thing we look at and that can land you in non-conformance is the naming of your document. The document should have a structured numeric or alphanumeric referencing system. All documents on a file should bear the file reference number. The title should clearly identify file content. File title should never be generic. Don't use a generic file title for everything you are using the same thing. You find it difficult to find your records. Now, retaining records. We talked about retaining records. Some records can be kept forever. Some records can be kept, throughout the lifetime of that asset, while some can just be kept for a particular determined number of years. Record retention schedule. Names and content and purpose of each record must be spelled out, prescribes the necessary retention period. Like I said, to tell the necessary retention period of that document. Then the retention period will range from immediate destruction or destruction after a period of time, or permanent retention. Okay, work order capturing. We've talked about work order, and we said that work order is the tool, the transition tool between planning and execution. So it is the tool you give to your technicians or your vendor to go and carry out the work. And in a work order, there are a lot of things in the work order, which sometimes it involves the customer or the client to sign off, and that will help you track your maintenance activity. It involves creating, qualifying, dispatching, and executing requests. It involves the creating of your request. Maybe after your inspection, you create the work order, you qualify the work order, what kind of job you want to do, and you assign it to the technician, and that is dispatching. then of course the execution of the request on site and all that. So that document is called work order. The step and function of the work order lifecycle work together to ensure that site issues are resolved in the most efficient manner possible. So there is no way you can say you are doing a very good job without using your work order to assign work to your technician. And that's why no matter what we try to do, the CMMS, the software, the facility management software or computerized management software is very, very important, you know, in facilities management, because it takes care of all these things. Once the job comes, assign, you go to it, you assign, everything is already in it. It is a plumbing job, it will just pick it, you pick it, plumbing and all that, everything, material and everything. And it's easy, you assign it to the technician, it's like the technician completes the job, gets back to you, you go back to the work order in the system, you click done, and it will be assigned to, in some cases, it will be assigned to the customer or the client. The client will say, okay, the job is done, and we'll close out the job. And of course, it is criminal for you to close out a job without doing it. So in establishments like that, sometimes because of the pressure you are under, and you want to quickly meet up SLA and everything, you quickly close out the job without executing it. The system will prompt the customer immediately that this job has been closed and confirm that the job has been done, satisfied or not. Immediately the client sees that work order in his system. Of course, he knows you've not done the job because he has not seen you come to his office to take care of that AC. He will immediately escalate, and that becomes the problem. It is criminal. So the work order is a very powerful tool to handle our maintenance, whether reactive, whether proactive, whether planned, whether predictive. Okay, creating a work order. We've talked about work order, so I believe as a facilities manager, you already know what work order is. The only thing you may not know are maybe the content, what must be in it. So scheduling work activity. Okay, you define the schedule of activity, you sequence the activities, you estimate the resources needed for the activities, you estimate the duration of each of the activities, you schedule development, monitoring and controlling the schedule. All these are in the work order as it is being generated from the computer management system. Assign personnel to the work order. The standard process of assigning labor. And you need to know the time frame. So the good thing about this, once you are assigning your job to a technician, you must know this time frame. Anyway, from your SLA, you know if it is a plumbing issue. Is it 24 hours? Is it 2 days? If it is a plumbing issue that needs you to crack the wall and to get to the pipe and everything, you know that it's going to take you more than 24 hours. So all this, if it's a power failure, power out, you know that is almost emergency, so it should be immediate. So you know how to assign your labor and the time, and you keep track of the rates in order to capture and track true labor costs, especially when you are doing call out. So you know how to track your labor cost. Recording and tracking materials. This involves tracking items being moved in or out of inventory or from one location to another. The work order will help you to know material being used, because on the work order, you state the material to be used. Of course, it will help you to know that this material is going out. And of course, the tools to be used, tracking of stock. and then tracking location of items, item cost information, and the substitute or alternative items. Recording and tracking tools. Like I said, it's important to track your tool movement. And that's why some facility you have the tool movement log, so that at every point in time, you know where a tool is being used and you can call for it. You're also using tracking conditions of tools for repair or replacement. Tool tracking allows work planners to see what tools are in stock and assign tools to various work categories to reduce research effort by mechanics and technicians working in the field. All right. Work orders for service request approval. So like I said, beyond you creating a work order, you also need an approval. You know, for some establishments, they can tell an FM that, okay, for jobs that are less than 10,000 naira, 10,000 naira or less, you don't need an approval. You can go out ahead and fix it and do the job, you know. But from jobs that are more than 10,000 naira, you need your coordinator or your supervisor to approve. For jobs that are more than 50,000 naira, you need the contract holder or the contract owner or the client to approve. So approving is very, very important. You can't go about, you know, doing jobs without knowing the approval levels that you must do. I remember when we were working with a particular client, although we were supposed to first create a kind of price schedule, the price list of all our critical spares and everything, so that when we are carrying out our maintenance, we will just go, we don't need to tell them, we just need to tell them that, oh, we want to fix this. They will tell you, go ahead. Then you just go to the price list, pick the price that you want and fix it there. At the end of the day, you execute the job. The only thing they can do is that at the end of the month, you go for reconciliation. They say, okay, use this, and they pay you. But when we started the project, we didn't come up with the price list. So we were just executing. Now, midway, like 2 months after, we now came up with the price list. And we saw that what we were even buying, you know, was even higher than what was even on the price list that we had. It was a mess. We had to now begin to do back and forth, deliberate, talk, and all that. Say, okay, fine. Before you do any job now, bring it for us to approve first before you do. So sometimes client might decide to walk that way, go and do the job, you know, later you come, let us do reconciliation. Or client will say, bring it for approval, and you have the different levels of approval. Okay, I want to look at the verifying facility inventory. Now, we said something about inventory, which is very, very important. In maintenance, you must have an inventory of all your critical spares on ground. You must have it in the store. Set a standard for facility inventory. If you have the CMMS, fine, it will help you to control, you know, as you are using the parts, it will tell you, oh, you have gotten to the reorder level, so you can reorder. Now, if you are dealing with a client or you as a facilities company, you need to go through a lot of approval before you get anything done. And you are running this kind of system whereby you are not tracking your inventory, then you run into a problem, because when you now need that particular item, it means you will now begin to write and begin to get approval. And before they will now send you the money and all that. And if they now tell you there is no money anywhere, you have to wait. And then clients will be complaining, abusing you and all that. So we need to plan ahead. it is very important that if you are doing a total facilities management, if it is integrated facilities management, no problem. You know, you have vendors that will bring in those items, but if you are doing total facilities management, you need a functional store where you will have all these things in it. The major aspect of effectively controlling parts and equipment supply is setting minimum order reorder level. Set a minimum reorder level. Even if everyone wants to fall and you got to your minimum reorder level, you must write and immediately tell them that you don't have anything in the store. Setting minimum reorder level ensures each inventory item is restocked before it's exhausted. So inventory documents. Inventory documents is of utmost importance, so we need to have it. You need to have documents to show your inventory. A simple Excel sheet can help you. You know, there's how you configure your Excel in such a way that when you get to the minimum reorder level, the cell will turn red. You know, if it is getting to, if you have adequate parts and critical spare, it will be green. If it is going down, it will turn to yellow, and if it gets to the minimum reorder level, it turns red. So there's how you can configure your Excel to help you to do all that. Documentation enables the facility manager know which items are available in store, know when to restock, know items which are frequently used or infrequently used. Inventory reporting, you must set, you can do it every month. You report your inventory level. You report what you have by category, you know, make it very clear, your electrical inventory, your plumbing, your civil, and all that. And do your inventory analysis reports. You can say, because of the way we, you know, there are some establishments you work and they will tell you, for plumbing jobs, we don't want you to exceed 500K in a month. For electrical jobs, we don't want you to exceed 1 million in a month. So it's a way for you to track your budget and also track your inventory. So when you are, you know, executing those jobs, is for you to now, you know, bring a balance so that you don't exceed that budget. Because you don't want a way when you plot your graph of expenses against fund or whatever, you'll be seeing that your graph is just going up at some months, you know. So that's one way to control your inventory, to control your budget. And inventory integrity reports. You review discrepancies between item information and counting information. All right, we've come to the end of this module. And that's the assessment question. And I believe we have touched everything on the assessment. So I'll just like you to go through it and do your assignment, assessment, and turn them in on time, and ensure that you go through the reading material. For areas that are not clear, you'll be able to, you know, get clearer understanding and answer your question. So we'll take 3 questions and we'll be done for today. Three questions. All right, 3 questions. I'll be done for today. What do you have to say about maintenance planning? What have you learned? What is still confusing, you know? Okay, I see a raised hand. Joseph, you can go ask your question.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Joseph.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. God bless you.
Yeah, bless you too, my brother.
All right. I really appreciate your lecture. Yeah, but there is something you made mention earlier. There is it mean-time failure?
Yes, mean time between failures.
The mean time between failure. Please, can you give me more tips on that?
Okay, I'll just give you a very layman's, explanation of it, to drive it home.
Thank you.
Okay, mean time between failures is when you are maintaining an asset and you discover that that asset is developing faults. Maybe you maintain it today, and before you know, tomorrow it has faults. After 4 days or 5 days or 2 weeks, you have another fault. When you look at the mean of that, the interval between the faults, that's the mean time between failure. If it is frequent, it means you need to increase your frequency of maintenance.
All right.
You understand? Like for a generator now, maybe you are putting it on a quarterly maintenance. You understand? Or no, let's say 2 months or 250 hours. You understand? But you discover that within a month or two, you are having failures all the time. You understand? You see that the time between the first and the second failure, they are just so close, and it's just like an interval.
Yes.
So what you do is that it's for you to increase your maintenance, and it means you need to increase your maintenance to be able to address
that issue. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, I can see another hand. Who is that? Lamina Afiz. Lamina, you can go ahead.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Just quickly, I just want us to recap on the difference between the servicing and maintaining an equipment or an asset. I just wanted to do a quick recap on that.
Like servicing is a huge word, as in, servicing the generator. What are you going to do in servicing? Because we are taking generator as a typical example. There are things you do every day on the generator. Every day. But there are things you do maybe quarterly, maybe in 2 months. And that is maintenance. So the difference is that a servicing is just the broad word you use. But maintenance is the activities you do while servicing that generator. So you can say, I want to service my generator, right? So, but what is the maintenance activities you did? Like changing of oil, changing of filter, and cleaning and all that. So those are the tasks that you must spell out. But servicing is a general word for it. So when we are writing the proposal or when we are communicating with clients, we are not, we don't need to tell them I want to service this. It should be too robust, and they want to know what are you doing in it. Do you understand?
Yeah, great. Thanks.
All right, can we get one more so that we can round off today? Or I can just call one person. Ladies, are you in the house? Let us hear from any lady. Can we hear from the former? Any question, any contribution?
Okay, okay, sir.
Yeah.
All right, we talked about work order. like this work order of a team, I really want to be clear about it. I know that it is actually a sheet you give to the vendor after the completion of the job, and that will fast track their payments. Is there any other thing it does? Because I heard you saying you give one at the beginning of the job and then at the end of the job. Can you help?
Okay, yes. Let me quickly clarify that. When it comes to payments, what you issue to the vendor is called what is it called? Job completion certificate. That's what you issue to make payment, to get his pay and everything. But work order, as it is in facilities management, is the tool, is the transition tool between what? The planning and the execution. What it means is that the work order is that valid document that you issue to your technician or to your vendor to carry out the job. You understand? And it's on that work order you will state clearly what is to be done, the job to be carried out, the material, and everything that needs to. So, without a work order, the technicians cannot carry out any work. Without the work order, a smart vendor will not do any job except he wants to cheat you or want to, So work order is that valid document that is generated maybe during your inspection or during your maintenance schedule, during your maintenance and servicing. You generate a work order based on the defects that you identify. And on that defect, you say, okay, in this social location, the ACs are not working. And maybe you must have even gone there to do an inspection. You know, okay, the fan of the AC is bad and all that. You state clearly what is to be done. And if you don't have in-house technician, that work order is what you now issue to your vendor to carry out the work. And when he finishes the work, the vendor is going to sign, or the technician is going to sign that the work is done. And will be taken to you, we bring it to you. You too will sign that the work is done. And there's also provision in some cases where you need to give the client to sign that, okay, the work has been done and he is satisfied. That is when you can close out that job. It's not even about payment. So from the work order now, you can now generate a work completion certificate, which you now issue to the vendor to go and get paid. But for you, as maybe if you are the facilities company for a client, it's from your work order. You gather all the work orders that you've done for that month. You put them together. You create an Excel sheet. Oh, for this work order was 20,000 naira. This work order was 50,000. Work order was 1 million. And you generate a job completion certificate and you send it to your client and he pays you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I think we spent like 15 minutes of our time. Thank you very much for listening and
hello there.
Response. Hello, you want to say something?
How are you?
I wanted to quickly ask.
Okay. Go ahead. It's like the person is not with us.
You've muted me.
Sorry, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm saying does work permit also align with a work order?
Work permit?
Yes.
Work permit to work. Okay, right. No, it's permit to work. Is an HSE tool to carry out work safely. So for critical work, like work at height, work in confined space, digging of trenches and all that, fire-prone work, you need a permit to work where you will identify all the hazards and you will also identify all the tools that you need to use and you also, present it to clients and yourself to sign that you have identified all the hazard and you have put in place measure to mitigate the hazard. So it goes hand in hand with work order. So it's not work order per se, but it is an HSC document that gives you a go-ahead to carry out critical work, in that you have identified all the risks associated to that work and you have put control in place. So you are telling everybody that you can do that job without any incident. In facilities management, especially for oil companies, you can't do anything. You can't even if you like have a robust work order, you can't do anything without the permit to work and maybe your JHN. So it's a control tool that must be applied for very critical work. If it is routine work, maybe change bulb, nobody will say get permit to work. That can be done, But if it is jobs in a confined space, work at height, trenches and all that, then you need a permit to work, electrical work and all that.
All right. Thank you, boss.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. I think we should call it a day today so that we can start our weekend. Thank you very much. And I wish you the best of luck in the assessment and the entire program. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Very much,
Thank you, class.
Bye, sir.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the lecture, sir.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Well done.
So much.
Thank you, sir.
Nice, everyone.
So going down well.
Double.